Woodturners, Mike Peace here. I want to go through a little fun little project on turning face grain little wooden knobs. Here's a picture of a project that I made that prompted me. It needed 12 knobs. I'll show you this picture in just a moment. And I decided I could either buy some knobs, and not that terribly expensive, or I could make them. And I thought making them would be more fun and appropriate with a shop storage unit in my turning area. So here's a picture of that project. That project's got 12 drawers and 6 doors for a total of, if I do the math, 18 knobs I've got to turn. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to turn these on screw chucks. That's the easiest, fastest way to mount and turn a face grain knob. This is what I mean by a face grain knob. It's just turned out of a block of wood, similar to a bowl. We'll look at the direction of cuts in just a moment. Here's some examples of a screw chuck. Here's one where I actually tap the block itself, and that way I don't have to use this face plate. I can free that up for other things. The other problem with using a face plate is you do have to put a pretty large, depending on your face plate, a larger plywood blank on it to put your screw through, and that can interfere with getting to the wood, as we might be able to see on some of the shots of me turning. I use a number 10 metal screw that seems to work pretty well. The key is you want to match the screw you're going to use on your screw chuck with the screw that you're going to actually use to mount this knob. Here's another alternative screw chuck. You get a little piece of scrap that you've turned left over from a project and turn a tenon on it. You'll already have a tenon on it. Put a screw through it and put that on your chuck. So those are all different options for mounting it. So now let's talk about actually turning the knob. Okay, here's another view of us working on actually doing the turning on this. I've got the speed up around 1900. I'm using a small 3/8 inch bowl gouge to rough this, coming in from outside, taking very light cuts. Very light cuts. Snug tail support, not tight. Okay, now we're going to start on the mushroom top and come back a little ways. Just taper it down. And I'm doing this by eye. I know the diameter is going to be the same. I know that the thickness is going to be the same. So the rest of it is the detail. I know I'm going to get about 3/4 of an inch down the middle to get a nice snug fit. So working it by eye, I don't need a template or anything. Now, where I use this thin parting tool to take out some of the middle, kind of get down to close to 3/4 of an inch in the middle. Now, this area of the base is a little over 1/4 of an inch, and that has a little fillet, so I'm going to make the fillet as a little flat area with this thin parting tool. Now, switching to the 3/8 inch details, the 3/8 inch spindle gouge, I'm going to come in from the fillet Open the flute up and just kind of bring it round off that base, taking nice light cuts. You go a little deep for that fillet. Just bring it straight across. Now I'm going to come in from now just the opposite of doing a cove, we're going to work from the inside out. Normally when you do beads and coves, you call from doing spindle work. You go from the higher diameter to the lower. In this case, we're going from the lower diameter to the higher. So I'm coming in. I've got this flute face at almost 2 o'clock. I come in the back of the knob. Come in sideways where I can see it. Start from the lower part, coming up toward that fillet. And I think I want to make that fillet a little bit deeper. Use that parting tool again. Come back from the base of the fillet, working out on the base of the knob, making it round. And we've got the basic shape. Now all that remains is putting that V groove in there. You can see where it's, I'm just going to follow the indentation, and I'm going to use this pyramid tool. 3-point tool makes it very easy to do these types of details. And it's coming in as a negative rate scraper. The handle is just slightly higher than the tip. And I'm just going to come in there where it's marked, and then come out about, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe 30 seconds, something like that, for another one. Now we're at the point where all we got to do is sand it and it's done. Okay, we're going to go through several, I've gone through several grits. I'm up to 320 now. I like to put it in these little V grooves, kind of smooth them out. Face it off a little bit. Get it in here without rolling over some of these crisp edges and losing that detail. So I've got to be kind of careful how I apply the sandpaper. And that gets me through. Now we're up to 500. And get in those little grooves. Kind of take the sharp edge off of those. Not quite a bead, but close. And very fast and very easy. Okay, now what I like to do is use a product called EE Ultra Shine, product from Australia, which is great. It's a Tripoli based product. It's a little bit like using a Beal Buff system. You get a similar effect. So you put some of this stuff on there, rub it on nice and smooth, uniformly all over it. And then we're going to ramp this thing up. Maybe 1800. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Inside. Outside. This is just some kitchen paper towel, fold it over about 4 or 5 times. So it gets pretty hot, so you gotta have several layers. And this takes that last grit and it's like doubles it or triples it. It puts a very nice shine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this over with it, go to the inside, and then I'm going to use a friction polish in this case because it's fast, it's easy, and I think it'll do the job for this project. So I'll rub some of that on here. In this case, it's Hut, Mylans or Shell Wax, all similar shellac-based products will give you a similar result to finishing it on the lathe. And with this kind of project, one of the keys is you got to be fast and get in and out on each one because you're going to do a lot of them and it get kind of boring. So this makes for an easy finish. You can see it really puts a nice shine. You'll be able to see it close up maybe a little while. Okay, wood turners, before we wrap up, there were a couple other things I wanted to talk to you about. One's the difference between a face grain or knob and an end grain knob, and some of the advantages and disadvantages. Again, we talked about side grain. That's just turned similar to a bowl. The other options are end grain knobs. End grain knobs generally tend to be, are stronger because of the grain running through it. They don't hold well on the screw chuck, so you got to mount them in a regular chuck, or you can turn several of them at one time, rough them out, and put that in a part them off, and then put them in a Jacob's chuck and finish them. One of the advantages of face grain that I like is you can mount it with a wood screw, which does make it easy to mount, which I prefer. You can orient the grain in the direction of your furniture. It finishes well in that it doesn't take an excessive amount of stain or finish that sometimes an end grain knob can take. One other thing I wanted to mention is embellishing knobs. You might want to check out Google Images and get some, look at some other knobs for inspiration. But one way you can embellish is you take do an insert. I cut these plugs of a contrasting wood with this ebony by using just a standard 3/8 inch plug cutter on a drill press. Another option is you can turn inserts out of what they call vegetable ivory, which is a tagua palm, and you can you take this thing, you put it up on, press it against the belt sander and flatten the bottom of it, put it on with a few drops of medium or thick CA, let it dry, and that gives you an option. This stuff's been used for turning since the 1880s. It's very, very hard and looks very much like elfin ivory, so that's one option. Another option is to take a little piece of what we call bovine ivory. I stole this piece from my dog's bone, but you cut out a sliver of the bone to a rectangle, put it in, glue it into a hole into a scrap of wood that you can mount on your chuck. Ivory tends to do better sometimes with sharp scrapers rather than gouges, so that's an option. So there's 3 different options for adding a contrasting insert. And that just about wraps it up, turners. I hope you've enjoyed this section and this session we've had on turning knobs, and I hope I can bring another future video to you.